Welcome back, guys, and boy am I excited, for today I'm going to be taking you guys on your first ever safari to the Underdark. Right now we're here in the beautiful Druid Enclave, which is home to a local populace of kinda douchey elves doing pretty weird things. In fact, one of the Sheilas down there poked my hand with a thorn bush and John asked for a band-aid 10 minutes ago. John? Anyways, on our way out, we got some directions from a halfling by the name of Aaron. And not Aaron, trust me, the bloke almost kicked me right in the ghoulies. You seriously think your tentacle ass can do a better accent? You're pissing me off, John. Let's go, John. John, that was funny when we were 16. And so begins our adventure. John and I headed west towards the Goblin camp to find the entrance to the Underdark. And although they didn't exactly welcome us with open arms, our Jeep did have four-wheel drive, so we got the job done. Welcome, welcome. We finally made it down here after a few complications with Priestess Gut, and to put it mildly, she's no longer with us anymore. As you guys can see, it's an absolutely gorgeous ecosystem down here, made up of a vast network of dark tunnels and vast caverns. And right behind me, this structure that you guys can see growing from the ground up in a triangular pyramidical type structure is called a stalagmite. And then growing from the ceiling are my absolute favorite, and these are called the stalactites. Absolutely. I'm not pronouncing it wrong. Stop interrupting. Let's get this adventure started with one of the most beautiful creatures that I've ever seen in the Underdark, the Spectator. Spectators are extraplanar aberrations that come from the lawful neutral outer plane of Mechanus, also known as Nirvana. They resemble floating spheres with a gaping maw and a single great eye that was set within 4 eye stalks, making them look similar to that of a beholder. Beholders, however, have 10 eye stalks, were larger and far more powerful evil xenophobic aberrations, whose presence threatened entire worlds, while spectators were much more mild and even-tempered and could even sometimes form friendships with other creatures. A spectator's greatest fulfillment in life comes from thwarting the forces of chaos and in defending valuable objects. Through a complicated ritual, spectators could be summoned to the material plane, most often by wizards. The ritual required at least 4 beholder eyes, but 10 would ensure success. Then the eyes would be ground into powder, burnt until the powder becomes black dust, and that dust is then used as a component to create a one-way gate to Nirvana. Once a spectator was summoned, they would be placed in their contemplative condition and reside for around 101 years within a 100-yard area from where they were summoned to. They were tasked with guarding this specific area, and no one was permitted to enter besides the summoner and others that were stated to be allowed during the initial dealing. Spectators generally disliked guarding things for lesser life forms, which includes most mortals, but sometimes would still take on the task. Once committed, their loyalty to their summoner was absolute, and they could be relied upon to protect valuable items in almost all situations. The only time they would flee through their plane shift ability would be when all of their eyes were injured to the point of non-functionality. Spectators as a whole were known to be vigilant and very trustworthy, and they heavily prided themselves on their guardianship. Even the gods themselves would call upon them to watch over temples as vigilant guardians. Spectators possess 2 methods of behavior, a free-thinking mode and a contemplative mode. In their contemplative state, they were philosophers and would spend over a century pondering vast philosophical questions. In their free-thinking mode, they would wander the planes at will, and many times converse with those that they came across. Overall, they are peaceful and do not attack unless provoked. When not guarding something, if they find themselves in conflict with an opponent more powerful than themselves, they will many times flee. Typically in combat, a spectator starts off by shooting rays from their eyes that create fear and confusion against their opponents. But eventually these rays turn into paralysis and enervation. They even have a way to reflect spells to other creatures of their choosing. As far as their diet goes, spectators are able to simply conjure their own food and water each day, which means they never go hungry, and when sleeping they drift aimlessly around a given area. A spectator's brain generates magical energy which powers their deadly eye rays and also generates anti-magical force, giving them the ability to reflect spells. On the outer plane mechanists, the plane of shifting gears, they were organized into an upper and lower class, where the lower class lives alone in small caves, and the upper class works as guards for important Modron, which were a race of immortals native to mechanists. For a lower class spectator to rise to the upper class, they had to capture a rogue Modron and deliver them to local mechanist authorities. And that's it for the Spectator. Now we're headed off to find an extremely endangered species known as the boulette. The boulette is widely regarded as aggressive, downright mean, and evil. But to be honest with you guys, I think it just needs a friend. Shit, he's coming with us? Boulettes, also known as land sharks, are fearsome magical beasts and extremely dangerous predators. They are feared and hated by most living creatures, for they can burrow beneath the ground and erupt at unexpected moments to seize their prey. Boulette's heads were bullet-shaped, with a gigantic mouth filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth, and their bodies were covered in thick, strong, layered plates that act as armor. They have a distinctive armored fin that cut through the ground, giving them that shark-like appearance. A boulette's primary method for hunting their prey comes from their incredible ability to detect vibrations in the ground, allowing them to snap to the surface ready to feed. They can also see in perfect darkness. Their powerful stomach acid allows them to consume their prey whole, armor, weapons, and all. Boulettes were known to live in the Starwood area of the Forest of Cormanthor, which is in eastern Faerun, but they were also known to inhabit the mysterious Dark Moon Temple along the Sword Coast, where they were studied by the ancient elf Elaine. A boulette mating ritual was a complicated manner where a male boulette would kill deer and boars and place them in a wide circle. He would then dig a shallow pit in the middle of the circle and line it with the bones of the animals he had killed. Over the course of a week, the male boulette would slowly grind the bones in the pit into a fine powder. Once complete, the boulette would dig under the pit and wait for a female. It typically took around a month for a female boulette to be attracted to the odor, and then the mating would begin. A dozen spined eggs are produced by the female and would hatch only a day later. Once hatched, the newborn boulettes would immediately attack their mother in an attempt to kill her. This usually resulted in the mother's death, and around a fourth of the young remaining. The baby boulettes would then search for food and after just 2 days would reach full size. These creatures are impossible to tame in the wild, and they attack mostly anything that comes near them. The only possible way to domesticate a boulette would be to bond with it over those 2 days of growth while it's a baby, but this is certainly not recommended to try, as you can see what happened to the mother. If you find yourself in combat with a boulette, look out for their deadly bite and powerful leaps which deal damage and knock creatures prone. And that's it for today's safari. 2 absolutely gorgeous creatures, many more to come. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your adventure at the cost of nothing but hitting that subscribe button. Alright, John, myself, and the boys, we're going to head over to the old Myconid village and take a long rest. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys ended up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I do all sorts of content on this channel, ranging from live streams every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, randomly on the weekends, comedy videos, lore videos, class guides, and more. I'd love to have some of you guys back for a future video. Until next time.